It was told of a certain potter, Abdullah, by Walter C. Lenin. Chapter 1. Abdullah the Potter. And the sun streaming in through the eastern window awakened Abdullah the Potter. He stretched his lithe, muscular body luxuriously and, rubbing his eyes, sat up. The boy Jethro lay wrapped in slumber, his harp close at hand. Jethro, Jethro, called Abd Allah. It's morning. Get thee to the well and fetch up the water for the morning meal. Jethro got sleepily into his picturesque costume of crimson with its heavy blue silken sash. He was a happy type of youth, a true son of the Orient, his skin the color of copper, and his raven locks matted in curls to his well shaped head. Some years before Abdullah had found him begging in the streets of Jerusalem and had taken him home. Of his early life, little was known, save that at one time he lived on a boat which sailed the Nile, and it was upon the boat that an old sailor had taught him to play the harp. His voice, which was natural and clear, had a warmth of expression seldom found in an untrained singer. Pushing aside the heavy curtain of woolen stuff that covered the doorway of their abode, Abdullah stepped into the outer court and raised his eyes to the eastern heavens. It was a new day, and the sky was a mass of gold and crimson, shot with the palest mauve. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. Breathed Abdullah. There was a thrill in his voice as he repeated it. He felt the impetus of the new day creeping over him, and thus he reasoned. It is a new day, fresh from the hands of God, and I am a new man, which means idea, fresh from the hands of God. I have but the glowing, ever present now, which is pregnant with opportunity and goodness. And as this day cannot look back into yesterday, neither can I bring from yesterday any of its storms or sorrows. And as every flower that blooms and every bird that goes singing through the long hours are new and fresh acquaintances to the day, so every man that I meet shall be new and good to me, a friend and brother. As he stood, filling his soul full of the morning and the glories of the new day, a single bird winged his way into the liquid blue, shrilling his wild song of joy. It was almost as if his thoughts had taken the wings of the morning. And as he was thus setting his house, that is mind, in order for the day, Jethro came through the large open gateway with a jar of water on his head. He, too, had been drinking in the wonders of the heaven, and, setting the jar down, he stood beside Abdullah and said, "Look across that silver sea of olive trees, there in the valley of the Mount. See how she stands wrapped in that bluish mist. Is it not beautiful, Father Abdullah? And see how the great leaves of those yellow green banana trees sway in the breeze. The fragrance of 1,000 wild vines and flowers fills the air. Is it not a wonderful world? And are we not rich, Father Abd, to have this picture ever before us?" And Abdullah answered, "Praise be unto God, whose handiwork is shown." Now, Abdullah was a potter by trade and he worked into the color of his vases, the glories of the heavens and of nature, and into his designs he painted wonderful lessons of gratitude and peace. He was also a letter writer, and in short, a sort of confessor or judge, inasmuch as those in trouble came to him with their problems for solution, and he always sent them away satisfied and with new courage. And lastly, Abd Allah, which means the servant of God, was a true servant of the Most High. Of friends, Abdullah had many, and these he found among all classes, from the lordly nobleman in his wonderful place of snowy marble to the humble herdsman who dwelt without the city gates. In short, he had a breath of love that reached out to all men. His dwelling, which contained two small rooms and faced the east, in front of it stood a thick, bushy almond tree, and it was under the shade of this tree that Abd sat day after day working at his vases or writing letters, with Jethro close at hand to sing to Abd and play on his harp. A glance at the open doorway with a not butter heavy oriental curtain immediately bespoke the moral courage of the man Abd and his open, God fearing nature, for his dwelling was located in the outskirts of Jerusalem, near one of the less frequented of its seven gates, and many considered it unsafe to leave their doors and windows unbarred against thieves. And oft times, as he worked, Abd Allah told Jethro the story of his vase, and sometimes, perchance, he was starting a new vase, he would work into it the solution of the problem of some troubled one who had come burdened with too much care. Abdullah had learned years before that as a pebble thrown into a pool of water brings one ring after another to the surface until they reach the outer edge, so one good thought dropped into the stagnant mind will bring ring after ring of thought to the surface until the whole mind has been stirred. And he likewise knew that by dropping these thoughts into the pool of a dormant or sick mind, at last, when enough have been dropped into its depths, it will rise and flow off in a tiny stream, and by flowing, that is becoming active, purify itself, and not only thereby receiving a blessing, but water field and forest and prove a benefit to mankind. And though it had been unloved and shunned as a stagnant pool, little children may wade in its cool depths and scatter flowers on its surface. Love is the only active element of the universe. Abd had told Jethro, "Be sure you are filled with love all the while. Let not else into your consciousness, and as you go, you will reflect it in some way that will draw all men unto you." So Jethro reflected love through song and music, and Abdullah through his pottery and his well modulated, sonorous voicings of truth. But there are many modes of letting your light so shine before men that they will call you blessed.